wherever you are, Free Enterprise fans. My name is Xenocat, and I'm joined in the booth by Sheepwatcher, and welcome to this matinee matchup between Cubsrule21 and EizanTayama.
Yeah, welcome in, Xenocat, and I'm really happy to have you here. This is a match between two winless players, but don't mistake that for quality. Cubsrule21 has faced two very good opponents and lost both of his matches by a combined 8 minutes. Just some really tough luck so far, but he's a really quality runner. And Xenocat, to me, one of the surprises in this tournament early on, EizanTayama doesn't have a win yet. He finished in the top 8 in the highway to the Threema Zone.
Yeah, took a tie with Penguinator, which does not count as a win, but also doesn't count as a loss. And then took a loss to Dr. Cossack in the last week, so this will be a very intense match for both of them. As for Cubsrule, it's win or go home here, and for Eizan, it's a win feels a lot better than a loss.
It sure does. A loss puts Eizan up against the wall. A win will certainly even out his record and put him in a much better stead. I do want to thank our restreamer Smafety and our tracker Taven for their joke objectives, but also for keeping the lights on. Nice police squad references. But let's get to the real objectives. You got to do 4 out of the 5, and the 2 non-standard ones, both character hunts. Get Edward, get Rydia. And with a Porum start, this is kind of a low HP party we're looking at.
Yeah, well, Porum's starting HP isn't the absolute worst. She starts with 110, which is more than Edward or Rydia or Palom, but definitely on the low side. And Edward and Rydia are not particularly desirable characters in terms of building your party, so we'll see if our runners are hoping to get those early to get the objectives out of the way, or maybe hoping to find them a little bit later after they've built up a party that can do some damage.
Yeah, one of the flags that is on in the Lali-Ho League is the Spoon flag. Edward gets to be the Spoony Bard and equip the Spoon. It makes him very powerful, but still somewhat of a glass cannon. His HP growth is very poor, but we're underway.
And that's Porum and Dark Knight Cecil. This will be great once our runners can get through Mount Ordeals, but until then, that is a rather weak start.
It is. The Dark Imps give us the pass, which will be very useful later. Always nice to have in your back pocket. It's not a key item, though, so we're still over key items on that. Porum and DKC means our runners can be expected to go around the world, do some looting, find some helpful J items to help them get through the overworld.
Indeed. We could find something nice for Porum to start, so like, say, a power staff or an archer bow with some decent arrows. A black sword on Cecil would be nice. With the Sineki flag, our characters have random starting weapons, but no armor, and the weapons can only be so good.
Yeah, that we're usually scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of weapons, although with DKC, all of his weapons are kind of low level anyway, so he can start off with the black sword, which is by far the most useful sword he can equip.
Indeed, and we have already seen our Rydia this seed having brunch with a Lunar Sparkle.
Yeah, her brunch partner is so bright, she's got to wear shades. That Lunar Sparkle means it could be one of the 5 bosses guarding the altar on the moon. I guess we'll see which one. You never want to see Wyvern in that spot. Plague in that spot is very, very manageable. That spot only has 400 HP, so it's usually better to see a weaker opponent there, but either way, with the uncertainty, our runners probably won't be returning there shortly.
Yeah, that's a pretty scary proposition if that's a Wyvern or an Ogopogo, which knocks your whole party down to half HP before you can get a word in edgewise. but
yeah, and the really scary part about that is there's another boss behind it that has much higher HP and much more attack power. So even if the Ogopogo itself it can't kill your entire party, whatever's behind it can.
Dude, we found Cubsrule has been headed over to Ebon Castle, which has some really top tier loot. Has found some Hanzo Steel, some Zeus Gauntlets, and a Leviathan summon in this Ebon Castle.
Very useful for that Rydia that we know. The Leviathan is one of the better summons you can get in an untrapped chest. EizanTayama checks out the waterfall, finds Dark Elf there taking a shower, and resets out.
Yep, Dark Elf, not a particularly scary boss, not the best boss to see in that location because we know we don't have to fight it, so not a boss you want out of the pool.
EizanTayama feeling confident enough to go dive that antlion cave. Did find some samurai arrows, which if Porum started with a bow, and I don't know, I haven't seen either run or check what that Porum started with, she can do a lot of nice damage early on.
For sure, those samurai arrows are, I think, the second best arrows in the game after Artemis arrows, and I definitely like to hang on to them even if I'm only using one archer. And I have Artemis arrows already, just as a backup.
You don't like to hang on to every single set of arrows you get just in case you find that one boss with the elemental weakness to them?
No.
Well, that's why you're 2-in-1, I suppose.
But speaking of bows, we did just find a good bow in the form of an elven bow. Although Porum did start with an archer bow, that elven bow is going to be much better in terms of accuracy. Yeah,
this Porum, EizanTayama equipping her for bear, she's going to carry this party early.
Yep. Unfortunately, Cecil did not start with a black sword today, just a darkness sword, which is the middling tier of his 3 weapons. And Cecil, how did you get into the antlion cave already?
Cecil must square off against himself, not at the top of the mountain, but in the bottom of a pit. I feel like this could be a metaphor.
Yeah,
well, the amount of damage that the characters can do doesn't really matter right now. Dark Knight does 3 dark waves, and in this spot they are very weak indeed, not even threatening the low HP Porum. You just sit there and listen to a speech, and he's taken care of.
Yep. Not a very threatening boss, and that's a magma key.
Underground is opened up.
Yep, that magma key will open up 3 gated item shops and also some weapon and armor shops with better stuff than you can find on the overworld. A whole bunch of great loot places underground as well.
Would you be looking... we've only seen the one Rydia in the character in the character slot. Would you be looking for weapons and armor this early? Maybe something for that Cecil after he becomes Paladin?
I don't know if I'd be looking too hard at weapons and armor, but the items could definitely be very useful, as we could find sirens, Bacchus, coffins, hourglasses, all sorts of very useful J items that will help our runners get powered up and knock things out faster.
I would make a lot of time for those item shops. The Bacchus wines, coffins, sirens, as you said, at least to know, even if I don't have the cash right now to stock up on them, at least to know where they are.
Yep. Meanwhile, Cubsrule has climbed up Mount Hobbs, not Ordeals, this is the smaller mountain, and finds a wyvern guarding Sid.
Yeah, that wyvern went way too fast, so he turned his battle speed down to 6, what we call wyvern standard time. That's enough time to get a Star Veil off on Cecil.
Yep, and that will reflect the Mega Nuke back at Wyvern, which does enough damage at this spot to knock Wyvern out. And now Cubsrule has a Sid on his team.
Sid, a very nice character for the early game, and Cubsrule found a Rune Axe and a Zeus Gauntlet, so he'll be putting out some damage with that Sid early.
Yeah, that's going to be a real good source of damage for this early game, at least until we can get through Mount Ordeals. And he can take a few hits, at least a few more hits than Porum and Cecil can.
Yeah, he's a nice shield to soak up some damage if you run into maybe a rude boss in Fabul or on Ordeals. Cubsrule will be diving into the Antlion Cave, and EizanTayama is going to make that trek up Ordeals.
Hobbs.
Hobbs. Sorry.
It's okay.
Misplaced where the where the airship went.
I mean, I just made that mistake, so...
Yeah, well. There's a reason Google Maps exists.
Smithy, our restreamer, pointing out that Sid it might help to have Sid in the center slot for Cubsrule, as that Rune Axe does not have the best accuracy, and the center slot gives that character an accuracy bonus. And since our agility values aren't too different at this point, it doesn't make that much of a difference who the agility anchor is. I can definitely get behind giving Sid that extra bit of accuracy so he can do a little bit more damage.
Yeah, what are the mechanics for this, for the axe accuracy? I keep hearing that axes are not as accurate. What does that mean, really?
Well, they have a 60% accuracy rate, at least the Rune Axe does. So, per attack roll that you have, which is dependent on your strength multiplier, I'm not going to get into the intricacies of the damage formula in Final Fantasy IV, but each attack roll gets a certain accuracy to hit, and having only a 60% chance to hit each attack roll, rather than if you're in the middle slot, say, something closer to an 80%, is a pretty significant difference in damage.
Cubs getting through that Dark Knight fight, unfortunately did not change his battle speed down from 6. I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I forgot to do that, I would buy a really nice lunch.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But he gets through it. Not a threatening fight. Just one of those where you kind of carve grooves into your desk, just from tapping your fingers against it. But he's through. EizanTayama, meanwhile, looting the Feymarch, found the 5 Warriors chest right away. Reset out of that. Find some nice stuff: a Stardust Rod and a tiara. For when he gets that Rydia, she'll be nicely equipped.
Indeed, and an Ogre Axe, which is nice for that Sid. More accurate than the Rune Axe, but has a little bit less attack power. But it looks like Cubsrule21 is not going down underground quite yet, and is instead diving into the Baron Inn, potentially.
The free chest in the Feymarch, French Vanilla, had the pink tail. That is one half of the third objective.
Definitely really nice to see. Already having one of the 5 key items that we need for our objectives.
That shop in the Feymarch had the Sylph Summon. You might want to make a note of that in case you want that for Rydia, although it might be outgrowing its usefulness. And also life potions, not any of the top tier items. Cubs got through the Pale Dim fight in the first spot in the Baron Inn, and faces Water Hag in the second. 3 hits, Water Hag is down. Anna gets her SAG card, makes her appearance, but otherwise not an issue, and Cubsrule is through.
Yep, that was a fairly free Baron Inn. And seeing Pale Dim out of the way as one of the bosses with one of the worst counters to summons is very nice.
I did not see who was in the king spot underground, but the queen spot had the officer soldier, the Kaipo guards. Eizan took a look at it, decided not to mess with it right now.
Yeah, that spot will get a few turns off and be a little bit annoying. The king spot was in Asura, which is a French vanilla that you don't really want to see because Asura did not need more punch power.
No, Asura hits hard enough already. Moving her one step to the right, to her right, just makes her that much madder, apparently.
Yeah, she's going to be hitting pretty hard if our runners decide to face her.
I mean, I've known people who get very mad when things are just a little bit out of place. So I guess that's why she gets angry.
Yep. One thing I will point out is that Cubsrule does have that rune axe and the elven bow, which could be very helpful for getting through that, as well as these rune rings that we started with. The rune axe and the elven bow will do bonus damage to Asura as she is a mage type, and the rune rings will reduce the power of those physical punches a little bit.
Job dwarf today, a referee.
Hooray!
Hopefully the job dwarf will not blow the whistle on out of bounds commentary.
Yeah. Job dwarf will keep us in check.
Cubsrule equipped that Leviathan on Rydia, wants that child doing some major damage, finds Antlion in the first spot on Mad Ordeals.
This is a little bit rude because of the counters, but the punches from Antlion aren't going to hurt too bad. This spot has I believe, the lowest physical attack power in the game.
Even so, one counter takes down that 30 HP Rydia. Cubs desperately looking for just a couple levels on Rydia so she can start doing her summons.
Yeah, unfortunately, Rydia only having 30 HP at level 1, a little bit squishy.
The first level on her is the toughest to get. After that, it's smooth sailing. Nice little Fabul shop, Cure 3s and Eagle Eyes. Or also Silk Webs.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Eagle Eye strats yet, but the Silk Webs are definitely nice. Those will cast 2 slow casts in one on any enemy, and it works on all bosses, so very nice to find. And Cure 3s are great. Just nice heal, nice little bit of healing there if you don't want to have Forum constantly on healing duty.
Bahamut invades Fabul Castle on Eizan's side. A Bahamut can be taken care of just about with at any spot. Kind of wasted on this Fabul spot.
Yeah, probably not hoping for this Bahamut here, as Bahamut is a fairly free fight, as it just gives you a long countdown and then casts Mega Nuke. And then starts the countdown again.
Eizan won't let Bahamut finish their counting. Meanwhile, Cubs finding in the back attack spot the Calbrana dolls. Annoying here, but Leviathan is online.
Yep, Leviathan should wash away all of those dolls. But we have a party rock from defending Fabul.
Meanwhile, Cubs throws the dolls off the mountain. You should treat your toys better, kids.
Yeah, it looks like Eizan may have forgotten to check the Sheila item, having been underground, and I think having paid a visit to Yang in the bed.
And a rat tail. 2 tails, no hook yet. And Cubs got the Baron key from the from ordeals. So we have a whole bunch of checks to do.
Yep, this seed just keeps opening up. And Odin here is great because Odin can be really rude at some other locations, but this top of Mount Ordeals is not scary at all.
Yeah, so far we have a party where kids are doing the bulk of the damage, and our restreamer has given them homework to do. Gotta check Baron, gotta check the tower, gotta check the tails as soon as you get them.
Yep,
It'll be...
What is that? Gotta check that sealed cave at some point.
Yeah. So this seed has really opened up to me, Xenocat. As a runner, these kind of open seeds, are you relishing it? Do you try and make a play that you think your opponent isn't going to make, or do you trust your instincts and go with the checks?
This kind of open seed, I generally trust my instincts. I don't like going for really early out there gambles. Just because on these flags, I find that you generally have to clear a lot of the seed anyway in order to get through it. There are exceptions, of course, but for the most part, these tend to be fairly full clears.
Yeah, considering you have to do 4 of the 5 objectives, and 3 of them are very key item dependent. I know for some of us who grew up on the flag sets where the crystal could be anywhere, making those kind of one-off checks could pay some really, really big dividends. Making the non-standard play still could pay off in a big way, but for the most part, since you just need so many more items, go where the checks are.
Yeah. One thing I would consider is prioritizing character checks, especially with 2 character objectives and 1 still at large. And it looks like Cubsrule might be doing just that.
Yeah, the Baron Castle play has really come into its own in these flags, because 2 of the objectives in every race are going to be either character checks or boss checks. There are 3 bosses here, 2 key item checks, and 1 character. So Cubsrule making the Baron Castle play.
Yeah. Meanwhile, EizanTayama is tearing through this Mount Ordeals, although these dolls might be a little bit of a problem without that Rydia to cast Leviathan.
I did notice earlier he had a firebomb, which might be helpful if Sid throws it, and there it is. There it goes.
Yeah, that'll do some damage. And it looks like it's enough to get through the dolls here, which is fortunate for him.
Yeah, firebomb, one of those J items that does damage based on your HP total, and having Sid with the high HP really helps.
Yep. And Cubsrule is now facing off against the Dimps that gave us our pass at the start of the seed.
Yeah, another thing maybe driving Cubs toward Baron Castle, he knew that the Dark Imps were here. The Dark Imps handed us the pass at the beginning, so he knew they were fairly free. Although they do hit for a little bit, and this party's still fairly low HP.
Yes, but they should not be able to take a Leviathan here.
To be fair, how many of us could?
I don't know. I don't think I would stand up to a Leviathan.
And Cub's going to do some looting. A lot of chests here, and because it's gated by a key item, they are a higher quality, and that's a Moon Veil.
Moon Veils are great if you remember to use them. They give you the wall status and give you the barrier status, which the barrier status prevents all physical attacks. on one character. They just miss. Which, as you imagine, is very good, which is why Moonveils are pretty rare.
Yes. And Moonveils kind of fall into that category for me where they're so good and so rare that I never use them until it's too late.
Yeah, Moonveils are the kind of item that's great, but you don't want to save them for the Zeromus fight, because Zeromus does not do any physical attacks. So you're kind of wasting them there.
Meanwhile, we find out that Baron is a technocracy. Cubsrule finds CPU on the throne.
Well, at least the CPU was pretending to be the King of Baron.
Yes.
We still don't know who the real King of Baron is.
Well, it's Odin, right? Well,
no,
the Odin's fine. You're right.
No, Odin was Cecil's inner demons.
You know, the lore just gets so confusing in these kinds of games.
Yeah. It really does.
Eizan heading to Troya has an Earth Crystal. The treasury could be in play. It's still early enough that the treasury would contain some items that would be very helpful.
Yep, that Earth Crystal from Kabul is going to be very nice for Eizan. Well, there's 2 character checks up there, plus 2 bosses and a key item, and that's just another Porum in Baron.
I would say another Porum means that the 2 Porums can still do twin magic, but that with that Leviathan, that's kind of mooted.
Yeah.
So Cubs did find that Leviathan, I believe, in Eblin Castle. So that Eblin Castle, as chat's pointing out, making that play is really paying dividends so far.
And someone threw a shield in the trash. It's a very nice shield, but it's just a shield. No key item, unfortunately, from the main Baron check. Ah, yes.
That was actually a really nice treasury.
Yeah, I think that was a Leviathan summon in there, a defense sword.
2 ribbons, 20 Artemis arrows.
Oh my goodness. That is a very, very solid max tier 6 treasury.
A Zeus gauntlet as well, I believe, and some money as well in the crystal armor.
Yeah, that treasury pretty much neutralized a lot of the advantage that Cubsrule got from the Eblon Castle loot, other than having a little bit of Hanzo steel, but we still haven't found an edge to wield it.
Yeah, so I give that, we were asked to rate that treasury. I give that's a solid 8 for me.
Yeah, I might give it a 9. That was just considering it's max tier 6 and we can't get any of those tier 7 items.
Cubs went down into the Baron basement, found that, like so many basements, it's been converted to a comedy club. Golbez is sitting on the throne.
Does this mean Golbez is the true king of Baron?
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Yeah.
Remembers the treasure that he wanted to raid is going to go back in, but his party not equipped to deal with Golbez right now.
I mean, if you've got a decent anchor, probably get through that Golbez at this point, although it's not going to be super pleasant. Golbez will do most of the work himself there at that Odin spot if you can get a Star Veil off.
EizanTayama, meanwhile, going up the tower looking for that Flame Dog chest, finds it without too much trouble, although you can really get lost in those catacombs looking for the one trap chest.
Yeah, some of those side branching rooms are a little bit out of the way.
Just a gold apple.
Well, we'll see if that keeps Dr. Luge away.
Now, what do you think Eizan is looking for in these trap chests? You think he's just hunting for a cheeky crystal sword?
A crystal sword or an X-Gal would be great. There's always the chance of getting something like a power shirt, a heroine robe, all sorts of wonderful things.
Cubs, meanwhile, making the trek underground, at least opening up the volcano with the magma key. Eizan about to take on the first boss in the Tower of Zot, and it's Octomam.
Octomam, the ethereal octopus that can pass through any material.
I always like how Octomam makes whatever floor it's on lava by popping up through it.
It's the ethereal octopus. That also explains why it absorbs holy and is weak to dark.
Changes Cecil's defense sword to an ice brand to try and take advantage of Octomam's weakness to ice, although it's not that pronounced, it looks like.
I don't think Octomam is weak to ice. I think Octomam is just weak to dark and lightning.
Either way, Sid is doing the bulk of the work here.
Yep. Yeah, Cecil and Forum are doing what they can, just because after every couple hits, Octomam loses a tentacle and gets slower. But Sid is doing most of the damage.
And Eizan is through. Octomam at that spot, as you can see, not very threatening, especially since it starts off fairly fast, but then just gets so slow once you do any amount of hits.
That spot is already pretty slow, so that Octomam started slow and just got slower. And
I've had days like that.
Well, the apple did not keep the doctor away. In fact, as we now know, the doctor is in the second spot of Dwarf Castle.
And Cubs just gave us a peek at the first spot in Dwarf Castle, which I missed.
I missed it as well, but we do have an edge to wield the Hanzo steel that's in Eblon Castle. And a French vanilla cane.
Now, Eizan did pick up a defense sword from that Troya treasury, so cane's on the menu.
Yeah, but Cecil doesn't have anything better right now, so...
And that starts with a Thunderclaw for the mean and for the element weaknesses.
Thunderclaw edge is fantastic. I'm not disappointed by that.
Eizan happily accepts both Edge and Kane into his party. He doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, only had 3 characters coming in here, so they fill up the other 2 slots. Meanwhile, Cubs has visited the Feymarch and picked up his pink tail.
And Cubs saw the Sylph summon for sale in the Feymarch, decides that Rydia with Leviathan and the Porum doing the White Mage stuff, that's good enough for him.
And we have found our D's Lunars up here in the Tower of Zot. Eisen being careful not to use the fight command on them, as that will trigger their virus script. And this spot has pretty strong magic power.
Very much so. Valis in this spot, they wanted to make sure that her spells all hit. Luckily, Eisen picked up two very good characters to deal with D Lunars. Edge has the flame magic, and Kane can jump, which does not count as a fight command.
Yes, anything other than a fight command will not activate the virus script. So, and especially that flame command with the D Lunars being weak to fire, doing more damage than you might expect from Edge's ninjutsu.
Sid and Cecil are on item duty, tossing Cure 2s at the D Lunars or possibly themselves. Cubsrule going to take on the Kaipo guards here in the Fey March. A coffin would be very nice here. I don't know if he has one.
But has Leviathan.
Could treat this as a spot to get some nice experience, take care of half the grind, but it's really scary to do, and he's just going to Leviathan the soldiers away.
Yep, and meanwhile, EizanTayama just getting Zeus gauntlets out of that Tower of Zot, so no progression there. But two very nice characters.
And Cubs gets a package. Could potentially contain the Edward.
Yeah, the number of the character checks are starting to dwindle. I think the only characters we haven't seen are the Kaipo Bed character, package character, and the Dwarf Castle character, the Evelyn character, the Moon character, and the Giant character.
Yeah.
But everyone's hoping that Edward is not a giant.
Are they hoping that?
The racers are hoping that.
Yes, chat's certainly not hoping that. I know the chat kind of desire has been for a fully required giant with maybe a Demas at the element spot with a guarding an Edward.
Demas to element is just rude.
Am I bringing back bad memories?
Not for me. Not my bad memories. But
Eisen gets his first objective taken care of, gets that Rydia, gets that Luca key. Now he has a decision to make. And he leaves that Rydia behind, even though he has the Leviathan summon.
Yep, decides doesn't need Rydia in the party. I'd be tempted to even take her just to take a nap on the floor and make sure the agility situation is good, but looks like he's deciding he doesn't need that. Cubsrule doing some cheeky looting in Sylph Cave and pulling another defense sword.
Eisen going into the barren waterway. Cubs going to check on Yang, see what he's doing in the bed, and then return to Sheila in a bit. And while these runners are kind of retracing our steps, do want to thank our restreamer Smapety and our tracker Taven for doing a wonderful job. And thanks to my co-commentator Xenocat. This has been a lot of fun, a great way to spend a Sunday so far.
Yep, thank you for joining me in the booth here, Sheep Watcher. Wow. Also thanks to Smapety for restreaming, and be sure to give our runners a follow. Be sure to give all of the wonderful folks on the restream team a follow. At least I know I do a bunch of free enterprise stuff. I'm sure lots of these runners do free enterprise stuff. Everyone in the booth here is active in the community.
But you see what Cubsrule is doing? You see what he's doing? You see what he's doing? Keyless Tower. Keyless Tower.
I mean, with that Earth Hammer on Sid, it looked like taking out that alert in one hit. I don't hate this. It's a nice cheeky play to get some potentially really good gear.
Yeah. Now, Cubs doesn't know about the edge. We haven't seen sirens for sale, I don't believe, as yet.
This is true. We do have 2 gated shops that are unavailable at the moment in Eblon Cave and the Moon. And I'm not sure if either runner has checked the Dwarf Castle shop.
I don't think Cubs did, and Eizan hasn't even set foot in it. So Cubs, maybe thinking about that, just did the one trap chest to see if he could grab a sword to make everything free. Going to head up the tower and finds Mylon at the top.
Yep, and sees that the Maga Sisters are up in the upper battle, so that's a great boss to see out of the picture.
Yeah, Maga Sisters can be really a pain to deal with in the wrong spot. Just knowing that you don't have to deal with them is nice. That hook route could still contain a demist, but our runners are probably better off not worrying about it for now.
Yep. Looks like we didn't get the Zed version of Mylon today. Just Mylon and his friends hanging out, having a party.
This is like every mid-shelf vodka commercial. Mylon and friends hanging out on the roof somewhere.
Yep. Hanging out with some sisters.
Yep.
But we scared the sisters away and now have to fight with Mylon and friends.
The attack power up here and the magic power not threatening at all. It just has a ton of HP to chew through. But that Leviathan will certainly help.
Yeah, Leviathan getting rid of all of the gas and doing a significant amount of damage to Mylon.
EizanTayama meets Porum in Baron Castle and says goodbye.
Yep, not looking to take that second Porum.
We'll find the nice shield in the trash. And then Eizan has to make a play.
Looks like has decided to at least peek this Baron basement boss. We'll see if Eizan wants to deal with Gobez now, or is going to take Cubsrule's strategy of leaving it behind.
Cubs takes care of that Mylon. We'll see if Keyless Tower pays off, which it always does. Just another Leviathan summon.
We need many Leviathan summons, right? I don't know if Rydia has Leviathan yet.
Well, she can learn it better, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's how it works. If you use more Leviathan summons, Leviathan just gets better.
Only in Final Fantasy IV can you learn something and then you always know it instead of having to repeat it. And there's a vanilla D-Mist.
That is spicy. It's very easy to route in the waterfall check, I find early, but this Mist Cave check is always a little bit out of the way. And
it sure is. Eizan will go straight into Mist. This could be a problem if Rydia's mom had a package, but we know up here in the booth with our all-seeing eyes that she doesn't.
Oh, that's a darkness crystal.
Wow. That is huge. EizanTayama has the darkness crystal. has a character check, has a whole bunch of bosses available to him, and has that moon shop available. This seat just opened up completely.
Yep. That is almost certainly required, just due to the nature of it having so many checks.
Cubs finally defending Fabul, running into Bahamut. Leviathan takes care of Bahamut. Leviathan takes care of a lot of things.
Yeah. Turns out Leviathan is better than Bahamut, apparently.
Well, it's a tough loss for Bahamut to take in the Summon Monsters League. And that's Valvalis in the first spot in Dwarf Castle.
That reset from Cubs makes complete sense. Valvalis is rude.
And Cubs did not have a cane. Eizan has a cane.
Yes, with Valvalis's tornado form that she enters, she gains a whole bunch of physical evade and magic evade, which is annoying, although Eizan's party can probably cut through the physical evade here. But with Kane, you can knock her out of that tornado by using the jump command.
Now, in some spots, it might be helpful to actually keep Valvalis in that tornado form. Valvalis does not attack as much when she is in tornado form, but Eizan deciding the lower defense of the standard form is going to be quicker.
Indeed. Looks like Cubsrule might be checking this package character. That's not an Edward.
Not an Edward, just a Yang, needs a lot of levels, and although Cubs hasn't started his grind yet, decides there's no room in the party for him.
And flying right past that Mist Cave check, looks like he's going to be heading up the Tower of Zot next.
Welcome to everybody raiding from Nimanva's stream. We are 45 minutes into this Swiss Round 3 match in the Lali-Ho League between Cubsrule and EizanTayama, both runners looking for their first win. Both runners have completed one of the 4 required objectives. The main difference now is that EizanTayama has a darkness crystal that, from a demist in the Mist Cave, Cubsrule hasn't checked yet.
Yep. And I think Cubsrule has taken one of the Feymarch fights, which Eizan has not, but it was just a package that did not pay off.
Yes. And the runners have different party compositions. Cubs' party defined by Rydia having Leviathan, doing a ton of damage to every boss they meet. Eizan has done the Earth Crystal, got an edge and a cane up there, and is taking the strategy of punching.
Punching generally works pretty well. We have a Tella in Dwarf Castle.
Eizan thinking about it. Wants potentially a Tella for an anchor. Looking at Sid, and Sid is the odd man out.
Yep. Sid is not a great endgame character, will not be doing as much damage as Edge, Kane, or Cecil with decent weapons. And while he works fine as an anchor, Tella also works fine as an anchor.
So, with Tella, with a Darkness Crystal, a grind that hasn't really been featured in these flags all that much is open. The D-Machine grind in the Giant. Xenocat, is that a possibility, do you think?
I mean, it's a possibility, but with the vanilla Giant flag on, you have to sit through both the Elements fight and the CPU fight, and I'm honestly, if our runners find 10 key items before they go to their grind. I honestly would rather just fight through those fights and use those as a grind than do any sort of giant grind. Because those fights give the most experience of any, I think the top spot for experience and the second most experience of any spot in the game.
That is true. We know we won't be getting any key items out of it with demist off the table and no objectives requiring any particular boss. So there's not a reason to do a boss hunt, but the experience and the character check, it certainly is on the table.
Yep. I would argue that 500,000 experience could be considered to be a key item.
Technically correct. Best kind of correct.
But Cubsrule finding his Edge and Kane. We'll see what he decides to make of them. And Eizan has found the pan.
Yeah, Luca digging into her bag of cookware, giving us the pan. That's 2 more key item checks.
Yep, 2 more key item checks and 2 fast key item checks. And it looks like Cubsrule has decided to ditch Kane for now.
Don't know if he has that defense sword. I think he does, but either way, decides the ninja life is the one for him. Kane and Sid can go shuffle off to wherever ditched characters go.
Cafe Howdy.
Sure.
Yeah, that's where they go. Don't actually look for them in Cafe Howdy, they won't be there.
No, well, they're hiding.
Yeah, they're taking a break.
Eizan has the Darkness Crystal in hand, still needs a character, but decides to go down into the Fey March. He has 2 bosses, 2 key item checks down here.
I can see this. You do need that character, but we're still looking for a Twin Harp and both halves of Forge, potentially. And he might not feel too great about not checking that demist for a while, although Cubs still hasn't found that demist, so...
Yeah, that's part of the issue with metagaming is while you're running, you might think it's obvious that your opponent has done something or has not done something, and there's just no way to tell a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Unless you're running against me, and then you know that I've gone Helix Tower at my first opportunity.
Looks like Eizan is using some cover strats to get through this Kaipo Guards fight.
Meanwhile, Cubs got his Zeus Gauntlet.
Yep. Getting that extra Zeus Gauntlet out of the Tower Zot check.
And Tella hits with a stone. You'd love to see it. Cubs going back into Evelyn Castle. Going to see within the... Is he fishing for Bacchus wines?
Maybe Bacchus wines, maybe a good Cecil sword. Oh.
Did get a Murasame.
That's right. He checked this and reset out of it earlier, deciding he didn't need that Murasame, and remembered it for now.
Wow. That is great memory by Cubs. Gets that Murasame and gets out of there.
Yeah. That is a really, really heads-up play to remember that, where that sword was.
Eizan, meanwhile, taking on that Asura.
Yep, Eizan taking on this Asura Leviathan while Cubs is heading into the Sealed Cave.
I like this play from Cubs. Sealed Cave, not a check that a lot of people do by choice. The problem is, I don't think Cubs has a source of warp. Unless Rydia has gotten it. Okay.
Rydia learns warp fairly early. She should have warp at this point. Hallam is the black mage you want to maybe get some levels on before you come down here.
So, Flurry pointing out in chat, this Asura fight, Eizan set it up so that Cecil would be doing cover strats for this one as well. However, he also set up a couple of Star Veils so that Asura would bounce the healing spells off of herself. In doing so, she's healing up the party and not allowing Cecil to cover them.
Yeah, that's not exactly what you're hoping for when you're doing cover strats. But it does look like Kane is doing some solid damage with that Rune Axe.
Yeah, Eizan's put out a ton of damage on Asura already. It's a trade-off that Eizan, I think, is willing to make. That Asura's magic power here is very good, and a Cure 4 is going to be a Cure 4 no matter where it is. So it's a trade-off. It's just that much more annoying.
And only a power shirt in the sealed cave, so...
And Cubs doesn't know where D-Mist is, so has to check this boss as well.
Yep, we know this is not going to be D-Mist. But that's a really nice boss to not have to fight, though.
Yeah, a power shirt is nice to have, but it's not that nice.
No. But Asura has the hook.
That is huge. Eizan has another key item check, so there's 3 outstanding key item checks. Can turn in that pink tail at any time and get that 3rd objective, which could still be a very nice sword for Cecil.
Yep. Also gets to turn in the rat tail for another key item check. Looks like it's going to go do the pan bonk first.
Yeah, you want to chain these together. Pick up the hovercraft, turn in the tails, go up to Fabul, talk to Sheila again. Very good routing and very efficient routing from Eizan.
Yep. Cubs is looking like he's going to be heading into this Asura fight. I think has a Murasame and a Mute Knife.
I believe you're correct.
As well as that Rune Axe.
Yeah, those will both be doing Bafo damage against Asura, who of course is a mage type, and those are both mage mashing weapons.
And hello, Avenger.
That is very nice. Young says, Avenger, assemble. There's no assembly required. You just slap it on, and Kane or Cecil just starts wailing.
Yep. And if we can find a really strong Cecil weapon to go with that, that'll basically take care of everything else in the seed.
By the way, that hook for Eizan, his 10th key item.
That is also really big, because now, even if he doesn't get to do a grind, if he can take down a moon boss, he could probably snowball that into taking on more moon bosses, and moon bosses give a lot of experience.
Eizan going to make the character and shop check in Cave Evelyn. And there are sirens.
We have found the grind.
Eizan in the and coffins as well, very nice. Although most of the bosses we would want coffins for, we've already seen.
Yep. Oh, looks like Cubs is trying to take out Forum with limited success.
You know, Porum's scrappy.
Yeah, especially when she has a Cecil covering her. There she goes.
Eizan just sees another Rydia.
Yep. Evelyn character not having the value.
It's a thing to keep in the back of your mind if you're really hurting for an anchor for that Z fight. A level 1 Rydia has, I think, 4 agility, making her a perfect anchor. Eizan probably won't have to worry about it, but if his Tele gets too many levels, it's something to keep in mind.
Yep. But at this point, Edward is either Sandruby or Moon or Giant.
Cubs, meanwhile, with a casual 6,000 from that Mute Knife Edge, gets his hook.
And we have our Sandruby, so we have access to every character check in the game now.
And another piece of Hanzo's steel is the reward from the Pink Tail, as well as, just having an objective done.
That is huge for Eizan's edge. Eizan was rocking a full moon and a Mute Knife before. That Masamune is a huge upgrade.
Very much so, and Edge can be back row glitched if Eizan is so inclined. Now, if either of our runners checked Kaipo, I don't think either of our runners has made the trek to the Oasis.
I don't think either runner has been to Kaipo. If they have, I don't remember what was there. But
Sheila's got the goods, a twin harp from the Pan turn-in.
Yeah, Sheila having the goods. That takes priority over checking the Kaipo bed for sure. And we now know that Asura was required. No dodging Asura.
I'm trying to think of a way we could have avoided Asura, but either way, it's close enough that Asura is yeah.
No, Asura having the hook and, well, no, actually that doesn't mean Asura is 100% required, because that was from the Pan, and the
Correct.
Pan was in Dwarf.
Yes.
If the Sandruby has Edward,
then it's hard required.
then it's, yes.
But it's all semantics at this point, because it is a huge turn-in.
Yeah, and important thing to note, Cubs does not have that Pan yet, so we'll have to do Dwarf Castle to get that Twin Harp.
Yeah, and Cubs ditched that cane, even knowing that Belvalis was in Dwarf Castle, perhaps hoping that it wouldn't be required, but no such luck. Gonna check that Sandruby.
But as Cubs checks the Sandruby, Eizan is heading into my favorite check in this randomizer. We're gonna have music very shortly.
Yeah, play us a tune, you spoony bard. That's a Palom in the bed, by the way. Right on the right side.
Yep. So Eddie on Moon or in Giant. Darkness required.
But first, let's hear one of Eddie's greatest hits. Eddie's greatest hit.
Well, that was a lovely tune. Don't know what it is, but
That's one of the great things about Calamity, who does so many of these harp tunes, is that even when you don't know what it's referencing, it's still wonderful to hear. So there are over 200 of those. It's great to hear. Eizan will not do us the favor of finding out what song that is, but gets through that Rubicon and clicks off button number 1. Just needs one more objective. Either 2 more key items or 1 more character.
yeah, well, yeah, and that 1 more character can only be in 2 different locations, so we might have a giant play coming up if Edward's not on the moon.
Yeah, I think the moon character check, certainly the most efficient to do. Eizan is going to go check out Kaipo, discover that Palom in the bed.
Thank you, Scala, for confirming that music was Din's Dance from Oracle of Seasons.
Cub's going to do a little bit of an egg grind. Only at 9 key items, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that feels rough. I know I hate grinding at 9 key items. Eizan peeking the package, saying no thanks.
Eizan doing the reset tour. And is finally heading to Mysidia to summon his lunar whale. Cubs going off to Dwarf Castle.
Yep. And we know that this will be value for Cubs as the harp is through this Dwarf Castle check.
With those extra couple levels, that Valvalis will not be as annoying.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Cecil and Edge can hit through that tornado. But meanwhile, Eizan is raising the big whale.
So if you were playing this, Xenocat, and you were in Eizan's position, your party has some levels, just needs a couple more to get Zeromus ready. If you check that moon character and it isn't Edward, what's your play? Do you go to the giant where you know that Edward is, or do you try for key items on the moon in the lunar subterranean or in Cape Amen?
I go to the giant 100%. We need we need to find Legend and Adamant on this moon. And honestly, I'd be quite happy with this party plus giant experience. And as long as it's not like something rude like Kainazo at Elements, it's fine.
Well, we haven't seen Kainazo.
But that's all irrelevant because we found Edward.
Don't you love a conversation that's mooted as soon as you have it?
Yep.
EizanTayama has Edward, is in go mode, has his crystal, and now just needs a couple more levels.
Yeah, this is gonna just be do a little bit of a grind and head to Zeromus.
He knows where the sirens are. Going to take the whale for a spin, see what it's in that moon shop.
Yep. Might be looking for Bacchus, I think. I don't believe we've seen those, or hourglasses. I can't remember what we've seen and what we haven't.
We haven't
none
seen
of those
either
were there.
of those. Yeah, we haven't seen either of those, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep. No hourglasses. Definitely don't hate this play going to leave the moon and head back to the blue planet to perhaps grind on some eggs.
Eggs are kind of the really quick and easy grind. There are other grinds that could be faster if you have the right equipment, but hourglasses are usually required for, say, King Ryu's on the moon.
Yep, hourglasses for King Ryu's, mute bells for warlocks. Eggs don't require anything.
Yeah. If you just have, if you is all you got, eggs are good for you.
And eggs can often be just as fast as some of the other grinds, although they are less efficient in terms of how many sirens you need for them.
Cubsrule gets through Dr. Luge, sees the grayish-bluish hand of Dr. Luge. This is one of my favorite hands to grab that crystal.
Yep.
The incredible edible egg. Cubs gets his pan, will quickly follow up on that, you'd think, and get his twin heart.
Yeah, but while Cubs is going to go make use of that pan, Eizan is doing some cooking of his own by scrambling a whole bunch of these eggs.
Which is, of course, the proper way to have eggs.
Yep.
This is my, like, I like to consider myself pretty open to cuisine and to trying new things. I just can't do eggs any way but scrambled.
I can pretty much agree with you there. Scrambled are great. There are some other types of eggs that are valid, but
Eizan has his Cecil in the middle there to make this grind just go a little bit faster.
yeah, slapped that Avenger on Cecil, because Cecil doesn't need any more attack power than the Avenger.
What levels would you be shooting for with this party? It's a pretty slap-happy party here. It can do a lot of damage to Z. What kind of levels are you shooting for here at TDK?
Without the Excal, I want Cure 4 on Forum. Without any sort of really top-tier weapon for Cecil, I'm going for Cure 4 on Forum just for a little bit of safety.
I think that's very wise. You know, you have that Tela, but that Tela is not going to survive. And a Cure 4 all with Tela doesn't do much anyway.
Yeah, Tela is there to do some single target Cure 4ing maybe, and to help manipulate agility.
Cubs is now going to knows that he hasn't seen that D-Mist yet. Going to check the waterfall, maybe the Mist Cave. He'll stumble upon the Dark Elf, say excuse me, and reset out of that.
Yep, no reason to fight that Dark Elf.
And he's gonna hit Pater.
Yep, it was the Vanilla Mist Dragon all along.
We've had some French vanilla in this seed. I think this is the really big vanilla scenario we've had.
Yeah, I can't think of any other pure vanilla that we've had this seed. And the Cubs flying over Mist Village to avoid triggering that package sequence.
Heads up play again. And Eizan is done.
Yeah, it looks like Eizan is done grinding and is ready to tackle Zeromus.
Gonna head up to Troya, has that pass.
Sticking Tella in the middle for optimal agility.
Yeah, leaving that Cecil in the middle would be a really bad time.
One nice perk of this fight is that if Eizan wants, he can essentially duplicate that defense sword by swapping the Avenger onto Cecil, and then giving Kane the defense sword in the Z fight and zerking him up.
And Eizan told to have a good time, and I think he will. So Zeromus, we can't really move him around. He's just got to be at the end of this pass, wherever this pass leads us to. But in order to randomize him, we give him a makeover every time. So we ask a question, Xenocat. What is that question?
I believe the question we're looking for, based on all of these flags in chat, is whose butt are we going to kick tonight? Although it's not really night where I am. Yes.
Tonight is it's an abstract concept.
It's night somewhere.
Always. And it, where Z is hanging out deep inside the moon, it's always dark, so it's always night.
That's kind of true, I guess.
The party makes their impassioned speech, and off we go. Cubs, meanwhile, heading to the moon. Gonna find his Edward up there, and will know that he just has to do Twin Harp in order to have his crystal.
I don't hate this routing, actually, by Cubs. The Twin Harp is right next to Troya, so we'll be able to do the Cave Magnus check and then be right there if he feels comfortable with his levels.
And Eizan taking on Shadowmist.
Yeah, Scala informing us in chat that it is Shadow from Space Channel 5 Part 2.
There are 525 of these Z sprites. Most of them are unintelligible to me, but they are all done so lovingly and with so much reference for the source material. It's really great to see.
And Porum survives the counter nuke. Hooray!
That was just about the worst target from Eizan's perspective to have that nuke go, but Porum takes it. And a Cure 3, she's right back to tip-top shape.
But it does look like Cubs is diving into the moon. Might be looking to do some sort of grind down in the LST.
Well, he did just pick up the Twin Harp from that Sheila. Hopefully it hasn't slipped his mind already.
Hopefully not.
I mean, with how many heads-up plays Cubs has made during this match, I should not doubt him.
Yep, but it looks like Eizan has all three of his Zerkers going at it.
Yep, putting out solid damage, not Crystal Sword-esque damage, but doing 7,000 to 8,000 a turn, nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, the one thing about that damage output is it's going to put him right in that range to hit Big Bang into Meteor, which could be a little bit scary.
That sounds like a problem for future Eizan, though.
I mean, Cecil might live just fine. Unfortunately, did not make that swap over to the defense sword for Kain, so Kain is swinging that rune axe, which is costing a little bit of damage here.
He has his Porum at the ready for the Big Bang that will come out anytime now.
There's that Big Bang.
We'll see how kind the roll is. The three Zerkers should definitely stay up, and a nice low roll on Porum.
Yep, Porum survives, is able to get that Cure 4 off. Big Bang into Meteor has been avoided. Or at least the wipe from Big Bang into Meteor has been avoided. And we
Rocks
have
are falling. Yep, EizanTayama can see the finish line from here.
And that's the dissolve started. GG's to EizanTayama finishing this race with an official time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 43 seconds in first place.
EizanTayama gets his first win of the Lali-Ho League, and a very impressive run. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview.
And it looks like we are joined by EizanTayama. GG's.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask about how you went into this race. You've had a really tough draw so far, and up against Cubsrule is one of the harder draws you could have had for this round. Were you feeling up against it?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I'm kind of scattered a minute.
Yeah, I can imagine not having a win under your belt at this point in the tournament must be a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I was kind of feeling pressure there towards the end because, I tied the first week, and then last week I lost, and I was in the middle of my grind, so it's kind of like, how close will this be?
Yeah, I find that's always the question when I'm racing is, I'm in go mode, where's the dot done? But you pulled it through this week, and you've kept yourself afloat in this tournament.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about your party composition. You did the Tower of Zot fairly early, got rewarded with an edge and a Kain who really helped you throughout the rest of the seed. Tell us about your thoughts on your party composition.
Well, I knew with Rydia and Porum, I didn't really want to grind to get white and nuke with them, so I just stuck with a heavy physical team.
It makes sense, especially as you had that defense sword. And as it turns out, the seed just handed you Masamune's.
That was really nice.
And that Ashura, in the French vanilla Ashura, in the Fey March, you went in with the very nice Cecil cover strats, and then Ashura kept healing your party. How did that was kind of annoying.
Yeah, I started thinking, I was like, oh, wait a minute, she's going to heal my party. And then I kind of messed up because I Star-Veiled with Edge when he had the Mute Dagger, so I couldn't Berserk him. So I was like, well, I'll just blink Kane in case she hits him, and then if she doesn't, we're good.
Yeah, goodness. That was definitely a scary fight, and it turned out to be quite a valuable one as well.
I did want to ask. I don't usually like to ask about hypotheticals, but I have to ask: if Edward was not at the moon, were you going to dive in the moon for your Legend Sword and Adamant, or were you going to go to the Giant?
To be honest, I was going to go Giant, and I was hoping Kainazo and Evil Wall weren't up there.
Yeah, we speculated about Kainazo and Evil Wall being probably the two rudest bosses left, particularly if it was the dreaded Kainazo at Elements. But it turned out that your Go mode was waiting for you right on the Lunar Dais.
Oh yeah, I'm glad for that.
So
It's very nice. Sorry, it's very nice when the seed makes your decisions for you.
So you've got a win under your belt. You're right in the thick of qualifying for the bracket rounds. What do you think of the flag so far? Halfway through the Swiss rounds, how is your meta kind of adapting with week to week?
It's pretty. I like these flags, and I've been pretty decent with them. It's just if I get into boss hunts, it's where I notice I struggle a lot. So, because I'll check just about everything I shouldn't be doing for that. But yeah,
Boss hunts can definitely be a tricky thing for sure. I mean, fortunately there were none this seed. Unless you count that. The vanilla demist.
yeah. But that Edward felt like a boss hunt considering where he was, and I had every other character check done.
Yeah, the seed handed you every key item you needed to get all the character checks on the blue planet done, and then you need to find demist in its vanilla location to get to the moon.
Yeah, I was hoping I didn't have to go there. I would get everything and just use the pass, but that Edward.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least you didn't have to do too much walking down the OST.
That's true.
But, any final thoughts on the seed?
No, that felt like one of my cleanest races I've ever done, so I hope I can continue that.
Yeah.
It was very impressive. You really impressed us with your routing and your decision making, and you looked really good. So congratulations, GGs, and best of luck the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Good luck in the weeks to come. And that was EizanTayama, who has moved to 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 tie.
Yep, he's got the sampler platter of results. Cubsrule, meanwhile, still doing his Warlock grind, going to grind the Z into fine powder.
Yep. Ooh. That was an unfortunate targeting for those fires.
Yeah, a double Rydia target. The Warlocks know who Cubsrule, I think, is still trying to get up to snuff here.
Ooh, and is running out of life potions, so won't be able to life glitch these warlocks. And they'll still give a decent amount of experience without the life glitches, but you can get fairly easily 2 extra life glitches, which would give up the experience from about 100,000 to about 170,000.
Just makes the grind that much quicker.
But Rydia has nuke now. Cubs is done with his grind, and we'll be heading to Zeromus probably, well, after we get one more reprise of music.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Xenocat, I believe this is Cubs' first free enterprise tournament. I believe he speedruns other games, but this is his first free enterprise tournament that I'm aware of. He's really impressed me with his smarts, his gameplay has been really solid. It might have come down to just finding that D-Mist.
Yeah, Cubs has been making some really heads-up plays. His first 2 losses were by relatively small margins, just a few minutes. And so this is a very solid showing for a first tourney.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that even though Cubs won't have a chance to move on to the brackets, there will still be races going between the folks who technically can't qualify, and there will be some really impressive play in those games.
Indeed. I don't think no one is required to race, of course, if they have been disqualified from the brackets, but I am definitely looking forward to some of these races that remain in the Swiss rounds between some of these 0-3 runners, because there are some very strong runners who are at 0-3.
Yeah. 3 strikes and you're out means, especially with a completely random draw for the first week, means that some runners just ran into 3 buzzsaws in a row. And that's what happens with Swiss.
Yep. Sometimes you get lucky and you get good runs, you get good draws, and you manage to get some wins early. Other times you get hit by some really bad luck with your draws, and you just take those unfortunate losses. EizanTayama's spoiler log, or spoiler screen, meanwhile, showed us the Legend and Adamant, in case you were wondering, at the Masamune and Crystal Sword altars. So, would have been 2 really tough fights to get that second objective. Yeah, and those are not the first checks you make when you dive into that lunar subterrane, so that would have taken a while to get.
But Cubs will give us a reprise of the dance music.
Yep. We will be quiet again for this reprise of the wonderful harp tune.
Well, as quiet as we can be.
And that was our reprise of Din's Dance from Oracle of Seasons.
It does strike me how appropriate it is that leg is accompanied by a dance.
Yeah. Especially Din's Dance. It's a very fitting theme for leg.
There you go. Cubs equipping 2 Masamunes. 1 is never enough.
No, 2 Masamunes is the best.
And going to turn this Shadowmus into Mincemeatmus.
Yep, this Zeromus is going to have a rough time.
Cubs rearranging his items to have an even better time.
Yep, just making sure everything that he needs is at the top of the inventory.
So when the guy who accepts your pass to open you up to the portal to Z, when he says have a good time, do you think he's sincere or do you think he's sarcastic?
I want to think he's sincere, but I don't know.
I think his tone depends on on how well equipped you. I'd like to think he knows.
Yes, if you're well set up, then yeah, he's sincere. But if you're charging in with doing low level strats, I think he's being sarcastic.
Cubs rocking the double Forum Rydia party. 1 Forum as an anchor. 1 Forum, I believe, as Cure 4.
I believe that Forum has gotten all the way up to white.
Wow. So, hybrid strats are on the menu.
We'll probably be seeing some Zerks going off for Cecil and Edge. Oh no.
Doesn't have a Silk Web.
No, it does have a Silk Web. I think it was looking for Star Veils.
Oh.
And unfortunately is out of Star Veils.
I don't remember seeing any of them for sale anywhere.
They have to be for sale on these flags somewhere, but maybe just didn't check the shop where they were.
Yeah, I think that's correct. I don't think either of our runners checked the Silvera shop, for example.
There are a lot of shops on the overworld, and it takes a long time to check them all.
That is certainly true.
And yes, unfortunately, even though has leveled Rydia up to nuke, Rydia is not going to be able to do that much nuking. Although it does look like Porum is putting up a wall so that some nukes can be bounced.
Yeah, the wall can certainly be helpful. Doesn't last as long as with a Star Veil. With Zemus's script, it might not matter all that much because after a time, a black hole will come out and erase any walls you have up anyway.
Yeah, so with this party, we might not see black hole. Just because we might end up skipping through all those phases and just seeing a second Big Bang into Medio.
That is true. Although, when you think about it, you normally don't see a black hole anyway.
Black hole is an issue when you're dealing with more low-level strats or with less well-equipped characters.
Oh, you see, I was just thinking of a black hole being a giant thing that all light gets sucked into, so you can't really see it.
That is also true. You can't see black hole. You see black hole by seeing how it affects other things around it.
Seems like cheating to me.
It's not cheating.
It's
bending
science.
the rules.
It's not cheating, it's science. This Edge putting out some good damage. 3,500 a swing. But
Maria's doing some real good work with these reflected nukes as well.
very much so. 9,700 on the last one.
Yeah, that Tiara is doing some work. Only 8,000 that nuke, but still pretty good for Iridia. There's that second Big Bang.
Iridia's a little low.
Everyone lives.
A favorable roll. And there's the flash.
No rocks. GG's to Cubsrule, finishing in second place with a time of 1 hour, 39 minutes, and 16 seconds.
And Cubsrule21 has joined us for an interview. GG's.
Gee, thank you very much.
That sure was a seed. You got that Rydia fairly early and slapped that Leviathan on her that you found in Eblin Castle, and she was able to carry you.
Yeah, they just never really found anybody worth dropping her for. Unfortunately, it was a whole bunch of Porums, there was a Sid earlier. Just everybody was hiding.
Yeah, unfortunately, the good characters this seed were really hiding behind that Zot.
No, absolutely. I usually end up doing that Demas check. Tried to change things up a little bit today, and I think it just kind of bit me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, on the bright side, you didn't end up diving the moon as a result of not finding that demist for a while, and the legend and the adamant were up there, but they were both buried pretty deep.
Yeah, I saw on the spoiler. I don't know. I think it would have been. I think it would have evened out in the end doing an earlier grind, but yeah.
Xenocat and I were both really impressed by the memory skills you had going back into Eblin Castle after you got your edge to pick up some Hanzo steel form. I guess I want to know, what's your secret? How do you remember these things?
Good question. I have no idea. I don't. Yeah, that one I don't have an answer for, unfortunately.
Okay, you just don't want to tell us, so you don't want to spill your secrets. I got it.
I think it ended up costing me more in the end, taking a few resets at Eblin at the beginning, unfortunately. So, while it helped, I'm not sure it helped that much.
I mean, you did get that Leviathan there.
Yeah.
I think that made up the difference all on its own.
True. I was thinking about bailing after the first trap, and then of course I run into the other two, so it's just like, how many times do I go back in? But that Leviathan was worth it.
For sure, that Leviathan carried so much of that seed for you.
Yeah, that ordeals without really any party magic or just even something to handle that CPU is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Eizan, I'm sure when I watch this back, Eizen's a great player. Congrats to him. Good luck going forward. I'm just in this for fun at this point, just to play it out, see what happens.
Yeah, I think both of you did the checks just in slightly different orders. The Seed kind of handed you a whole bunch of homework early on, and then it was up to you how you wanted to complete them. I don't think there was a right or wrong way to go about them since the items were pretty scattered. So,
Yeah.
But you really did well here and in this tournament, and just came up short a couple times.
Yeah, I think two of the really big things that I think was that you did that Eisen didn't do was you did Keyless Tower and the Sealed Cave Dive, either of which could have paid off really well, but unfortunately neither of them had any value in them.
It's funny how much those have been not only paying off but hard required lately, and today there's just nothing. Just rando, go figure.
Yep, rando is going to rando sometimes.
No, I've already far outseeded any expectations I had coming into this, so this is all just bonus at this point.
Well, that's a very good attitude to have, but you certainly made some very good runners' lives that much more nervous with your play so far. Any final thoughts on this seed or on the flags in general, your tournament experience? What's it been like for you so far?
It's been good. Like I said, looking forward to the next few matches, looking forward to brackets, to not having to deal with brackets. But yeah, looking forward to the next time at this point.
Yep.
Well, that's great to hear, Cubsrule. And Xenocat, you have any other questions?
I don't have any other questions for you, but thanks for putting on a show for us. We really enjoyed watching you.
Thank you both for comms, Smapedy for restreaming, Taven, thank you very much for handling the buttons, and GG y'all. Good luck next time.
GG's. Thanks, Cubsrule.
Thank you.
GG's. And that was Cubsrule.
Yeah, and if you thought that was exciting, we have two more exciting free enterprise matches coming up on Randomania 2 at 5 p.m. Eastern. There's Aegis versus Penny Whistle, and at 7 p.m. Eastern on Free Enterprise, Mechalink versus Super Nintailor. That should be a really exciting match. So come join us again soon for more Free Enterprise as we wrap up week 3 of the Lali-Ho League.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we are going to be heading over to Randomania, where they are playing some Final Fantasy V Career Day.
Ah, yes, the one with the jobs.
Yes, that Final Fantasy.
Well, before we go, I want to thank our restreamer Smapedy, our tracker Taven. Thank you, Xenocat. And we will head over to Randomania. Be sure not to spoil them. I'm sure some of them want to see this match later on. But we'll see you over there. And until next time, so long.
See y'all later.